today's video, we are going to be reviewing all of the vocab from day one. And on day one, we had all those different vocab words that are going to be a big part of your quiz coming up. So if we look at the picture here, and you don't have your warm-up, so you should be doing this on a separate sheet of paper. Go ahead and draw your diagram. That's going to be really helpful as a study guide. When we look at number one, we see just the letter R. Just the letter R is talking about the point R. So if I look at my diagram, I'm looking at the point R right here. It's asking, what is point R? Is it the center of the circle? No, the center of our circle is right here in the middle at E. A chord is a segment, which means it needs two letters. A diameter is a segment, two letters. It's not an arc. We don't have our arc symbols. Here we go. We've got the point of tangency. Remember what tangency is? A tangent is when we have a line that's only touching our circle at one point. The point that it's touching is right there at R, so R is the point of tangency. Number two, we have RN, and if I look at the notation above it, it's just a segment. So I'm starting at R, and I'm ending at N. Now this one could be a little bit tricky because as you go through your options, you're like, oh, it's a chord. We have our endpoints on the circle. Now it is a chord, but it says, what is the best answer? Now that's a special kind of chord. Because the chord is going through the center of your circle and it has the edges, this is going to be our diameter. Remember, the diameter goes all the way through the circle, going through the center. Next one, number three, the notation here is really important. Notice that we have a line OR. So if I find O and I find R, this time we're talking about this whole line. And we kind of touched on this in number one. That line is touching my circle at only one point. So if I go all the way down my answer choices here, I see that that's going to be my tangent line. Next, we are moving on to GN. Again, the notation means I'm starting at G and I'm ending at N. It's not a line, it's a segment. So here is G, here is N. So starting at G, ending at N. Here is where that chord comes into play. Remember, a chord has its endpoints on the circle. Now I'm going to cheat and come down to number 7, because if I look at number 4 and number 7, those two look almost identical. Number 4, I'm starting at G and I'm ending at N. Number 7, this is the line GN, and that little notation is going to change what it is. If it's a segment, it's going to be your chord, but when I have a line, my line is cutting through my circle in two different spots, which is going to be making that a secant. So you want to make sure that you're really paying attention to the difference of those, the formatting of what you're given, because there is a difference between a segment and a line. Using the same two letters, it can make a big difference. All right, so let's look back at number 5, RGN. I find R. I've got to hit RGN in that order. So I can't go spinning this direction because I would hit R and then N and then G. We've got to go the other way. So if I go from R, starting here, to G to N, if I'm looking at that, well, I've gone through half of my circle, which is making it a semicircle. Number 6, we have E. Hopefully we don't miss this one. E is the center of my circle. Going on to number 8. Now we have arc RAG. I start at R and then I go to A and then I've got to go all the way over here to G. So if I'm going here, my arc all the way around, starting here, ending here, we have an arc. I notice the arc symbol above my letters. So as I go through, major versus minor. Remember, major is big, minor is small. So minor is less than half my circle, major is more. So if I'm looking at my arc, it's more than half my circle. So this is going to be a major arc. Then we go to GR, our next one here. We find G, kind of covered up, and R. That's less than half my circle, so this is going to be a minor arc. Now, if you only have 2 letters, you know it's either got to be a semicircle or a minor. In order to get a major arc, you need to have those 3 letters, indicating that you're going more than halfway. Because if you only have 2 letters, you're always going to travel the shortest distance between those 2 letters. All right, we are on our last one here, and we see segment EA. This is a good one. We're at E and we're going all the way to A. Now, because we're coming from the center of our circle to the edge of our circle, this is going to be our radius. All right, so hopefully that brought some things back. I know it's been a while since we've seen this vocab, but this vocab is important. It's the foundation of our circles unit. So hopefully this review helped refresh your memory.